views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
How you doing, everybody? I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BxRx, our special coverage of COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus. We want to know about the impact in our community and beyond. On today's show, we're going to talk to different artists about what they are doing during this time of quarantine, and then we'll check out some of the music that they're producing also. And plus, we'll hear about how staying at home is impacting what they do. Stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now open. Here we go. My good friend Gerald Alston of the Manhattans, the lead singer. And we've been friends for so long. We help his foundation. He helps our foundation to make the Grade Foundation for Education. He's just a phenomenal singer. He's traveled the world. And guess what? He's here with us today. And I know you can't get out. You're not traveling right now, but you can come within. A lot of people are coming within and they're producing stuff. Like you have your own studio inside your home and you're coming up with a number of things. Talk about it.
We'll work. First of all, thank you, Bob, for having me. And we're working on completing our CD. We have a brand new CD, and the title of it is The Manhattans featuring Gerald Alston, The Legacy Continues.
Yes.
And we have a new single that we're releasing, and that single is called She's Coming Home. And we have high hopes on it, you know. We're looking forward to it. We're also going to do another video. And prior to this, we had a single, Get It Ready, which you heard it. Yeah. And so we're coming back with this one. We have high hopes for it.
Everybody that I call is in the studio. They come within and they're working on some things to put out so that, in reference to what's going on today with COVID-19.
Right.
You know, and this is a strange virus. You know, a lot of people are suffering from it. A lot of people are left us from it. And I know you were just on another radio station. You were talking about Betty Wright. You know, yeah. You've met Betty Wright many times before.
Many times, and Betty and I worked together a number of times together. Also, Betty and I recorded a song many years ago, and I was looking for it. I could not find it.
Yeah,
and I cannot remember the title of it, but I remember it was a beautiful ballad. And oh my God! And also Betty recorded on my last album with Motown.
Yeah,
it was in the Mood album. She and her daughter sang on. I had a song that I've written called Peace of Mind. And oh my God, they were awesome.
Yeah.
And, Nick Martinelli produced it. And then she was still around. She hung out with us, and I did the vocal on Sin For Me.
Yeah.
And she just chimed right in and said, look, the vocals are great, but you got to do this and try this and the tag. And I tried it and it worked. You know, Betty was a wonderful person. She was a person that once you met her, you thought she like you knew her all the time.
Yeah. Wow, Betty Wright. She was 66, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She's surely going to be missed because she was still moving around in concert, right? She was doing things.
Oh, I forgot one thing. We sang at this place in Miami called Club 181. And Regina Bell had just gotten with us. Regina had never met Betty. She knew of Betty, but she never met her. And Betty came in and we did this song called We Made It.
Wow.
Betty came in and Bluehead Betty come up on stage. Betty just ad-libbed. She killed this song.
That's what she does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Regina, because Regina heard us talk about how great Betty was. She just, when she saw it, she just like, oh my God. And I was reading, Betty had this pitch that she could sing in that was called whistle register.
Whoa.
And that was higher than a soprano, a second soprano. She could go way up there. And she had it perfected. And she did that when I think about it in hindsight, she did that on We Made It. And that's what blew everybody away. I mean, she went all the way. Unbelievable.
Wow, I never heard of that whistle register.
Yes.
Wow. She was up there.
She was up there.
Shoot. And you've been around. Tell us some of the people that you worked with other than Betty Wright. And you've traveled the world.
Oh, gosh. I worked with Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Spinners, the Temptations. We worked with Stephanie Mills, Mary Wilson, the Supremes when I first joined the group.
Yeah.
And I remember fondly doing the last tour with Marvin Gaye.
Wow.
That was the tour of all tours.
How was Marvin Gaye? How was he to work with?
He was a lot of fun. And most of the time Marvin came in time enough, maybe a few minutes before he went on, or maybe an hour or so before he went on stage. And we worked with Marvin the whole summer. I never heard his voice crack one time.
Ooh.
Marvin was on every night. And I remember the last show we did was him was at the Greek.
Yeah.
And he closed with Sexual Healing. And I forgot the song he did before that. But he went off stage and the band played for like maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And he came back on with this smoking jacket, silk pajama pants. It was silk. And he came out with his bedroom shoes on, and they went into Sexual Healing, and the place went up in smoke.
And they were throwing items up on the stage, right?
Oh yes, that was.
You've experienced that many times before.
Oh yeah,
throwing items on the stage.
Yes.
So, I know you probably had some tours lined up, but they all had to be shelved for the time being.
Right. A couple of dates actually canceled, but most of them moved into 21. And we have a date in Jamaica that's supposed to be the end of the month, and they're just waiting to see how the situation is with this virus, and we're rescheduling. And I know it's going to be in 21.
Yeah,
we're just waiting to reschedule.
You got to make sure you're safe, everybody around you safe, because you're moving in large circles. You're going to the airport, you're going here, you're going there, and
it's going to be a new normal for all of us, especially in the entertainment industry.
Yeah. So you got a chance to sit back and write something nice for this time period for COVID-19.
Yeah, we have been putting things together. Actually, basically putting it together for the new album. We're trying to put together a video that we could do, and we're trying to. We're also going to do something live, watch the shows, and we're looking forward to that. Curtis is working on that. Our keyboard player.
Yeah,
he's trying to put something together now so we can come back and bring something to our audience.
Hey, nothing stays the same.
That's right. That's right. And so we're trying to stay busy because we want to be prepared for whatever changes there are when we come back. We want to be able to at least maybe be prepared to step right in and get right to it,
Yeah. What was that song that you sang? Change is gonna come.
Oh yes, change is gonna come.
Just a touch.
Yes. I was born by the river, in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
My man, Gerald Alston.
Oh, yes, it will.
Woo. There you go. And the legacy continues.
That's right.
My man, Gerald Alston from the Manhattans. Thank you so much, my brother. We love what you do. You know, not only a performer, singer, recording artist, but you do a lot of great things in the community, and we love you and appreciate you for all your work and for everything that you do.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay home.
All right, you do the same.
All right, my man, Gerald Alston. We'll take a break. I've got more coming up next on
Taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
Here's another good friend of mine, a recording artist. She's always in the studio. She's always out in public singing all over the place. And she's also a frontline worker.
Yes, indeed.
You can explain more as we go along, but give her a big round of applause. Everybody's doing this. Give her a big round of applause. Monique Nikkole is in the house.
Hey, everybody.
Her records over WBLS and the whole nine. So
yes, indeed.
Tell us, I know you're not quarantined because you have to be out on patrol. You have to be out in the public. Tell us about it.
Yes, I'm an essential worker, so I have to work through the pandemic. I'm a detective sergeant in the Nassau County Police Department.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. It's been tough. I mean, we've had to change the way we've been policing a bit with the social distancing and trying to keep my detectives safe out there, trying to keep myself safe. We've been wearing our N95s. Like we've been trying to, if we can, because in the detective division, we make arrest later than patrol because we do the investigative part of it. So just like trying to prioritize things a bit, you know, in order to try to space things out to minimize the level of exposure to my detectives and myself. And, you know, with some things, it's just unavoidable. You're going to somehow get exposed to it. But so far, I've been negative. You know, a couple of people in my unit have tested positive for it, but so far, so good.
Yeah, and those domestic violence calls are very dangerous because you never know what you're going to.
That as well. And that's like must arrest situation. So it's not like if you could put that off for a different day.
Yeah.
You know?
So, but then you split that up and you say, hey, you know what? I also sing.
Yes.
Get into my, when you come home, it's like you're working 24 hours a day. When you get off of patrol, you know, you come on and you're in your studio, your personal studio.
I am.
Tell us how you've been working that.
Oh, it's a little frustrating on one hand because I can't get out there and be on stage and actually be the people person that I am, because I like to actually connect with the fans and everything. So, you know, you're finding other ways through social media to connect.
Yeah.
And right now I'm organizing to do a little live concert for my followers, and I'll be doing that towards the end of the month. And
you let everybody know so we can jump on. What is it going to be on Zoom?
Yeah, I'm going to be on multiple platforms. It'll be Zoom, Facebook, IG, and probably a couple others.
You can do that all at once?
Yes, because you'll have your different devices streaming.
Ah, I got you. So you have multiple cameras going on.
Right, yeah. So that way
you
can kind of hit everyone and give people a chance to connect with you.
I got it.
I have that planned, and then I have a new single that I have coming out with Little Flip.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. And I know you like to be out in the public because I've seen you in action.
Also, as well, outside of just being the artist, we promote the events, and we brought R&B to the Queen's Theater for the first time. We had Full Force and Keith Washington. He was my headliner, Intro, and myself, and it was an awesome night, you know. And just to get back to doing that again, you know.
Yeah, can't wait, right?
I can't wait.
But we have to, because we have to make sure everybody's safe before we can go out there again. You know my position with it. I'm a community type of guy, so I'm like, when are we going back out there? But
I know.
Besides going out there and helping find N95 masks for different people that we know, we just got to stay put.
Absolutely, yeah. We have to. We definitely have to exhibit self-control. And, stay safe. You go out, mask up, wear your gloves, respect the social distancing. And we'll just have to wait it out. Everything is on the downswing right now in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I know everything is going up in Atlanta because they opened up too soon. So, sending prayers out there to you guys. Sometimes you just don't listen to what the government is saying and stay in.
Yeah. Well, you can control that.
Right.
There's some people around the area. Sometimes they call on you to get them food. They can't go out. They're elderly. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I go shopping for them. I utilize my Make the Grade Foundation, and I go out and I go shopping and bring them some food. But we try to stay safe in doing so. So whatever you have to do on the outside, make sure you try to do the best you can to stay safe, not only for yourself, but for the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these records coming out, and I know you have to get out there and get on patrol and everything. And we want to just thank you for checking in with us and letting us know what you're doing behind the scenes.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for all that you're doing in the community.
You're welcome. Where can we go to find more about you?
At Monique Nikkole everywhere. If you just Google my name, it's Monique common spelling, and it's Nikkole. You Google me, you find my links to everything. So that's the easy way to find me. I'm on every social media platform, and I get back to everybody. So if you inbox me or you DM me, I will respond.
All right. What song can we play for you right now? Can you introduce it?
And this is myself and Mr. Keith Washington as we sing. It's a little snippet of us singing Candlelight and You at the Queen's Theater this past November.
See
Monique Nikkole on BronxNet.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back. Our next guest, Tatyana Mezhentseva, and she's a vocal sensation from Russia, and her United States representative, Leos Muslimov. Welcome to the show, guys. I know you're here to share some great information. Tell us, first of all, what you guys are all about, what you're doing.
So for now, we're staying at Russia. I have some Zoom lessons every morning and finished.
So you take lessons every morning?
Yep.
And what does that consist of? What kind of lessons are you taking? Vocal?
Well, I have all school lessons, and also I have vocal lessons and aerial gymnastics.
All right, gymnastics?
Yeah.
Can you do some right now? I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Have you ever been to the U.S.?
Yes, but I was 2 years old. My mom told I've been there, but I don't really remember.
Originally, we planned to have Tatyana, our young rising Russian pop star, in New York in April.
Wait, how does that sound, Tatyana? A young rising pop star. Yay!
Sounds interesting.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah, a bit nervous.
It's okay. You're surrounded. You got the Bullion Foundation and everything right behind you.
Yep.
So we with our colleagues from Bullion Foundation and our Russian partners from All Star Music, we planned the trip originally for April, but since the very well-known situation that's happening all over the world at this moment, so we had to postpone it. And so, but in the meantime, Tatyana is working on her new songs that will be coming up, and she also promoting her newly released single "Молодые."
Снова мы бежим по венам сонного города. О, как безнадежно мы молоды, беспечные молоды. Finished?
All right. And the whole world did this. Yay, Tatyana. So she's the rising pop star, and you're working with her. What's the next steps for her?
So while during her trip, when she comes here, we plan on having her working with American coaches, vocal coaches, acting coaches, and she's definitely going to spend some time recording her new material here at the studios in New York. And our main goal primarily is to introduce her to the U.S. audience and make aware of her great talent.
That's great.
International level. So she's already been exposed to Europe, definitely, by taking a part in Junior Eurovision competition.
But Tatyana, whatever you do, we're with you 100%. We wish you the best. All right.
Thank you very much.
So right now, just stay home, get the classes that you need, and it's a wonderful opportunity to just sit back at home and under the comfort of your own home and learn all you can right there. How can we reach you? Social media?
Well, my Instagram is Tatyana Mezhentseva and Tanya.Mezhentseva.
Yeah.
And also, I had a new release called Neonovый Рюкзак, and if you'd like to watch it.
Yeah, we'd like to check it out. We'll check it out. And hope to see you when you get to New York.
Hope so.
There we go. Vocal sensation from Russia. Tatyana Mezhentseva and her representative, Dios Mosalimov. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Bronx Net. Appreciate you. Yay! Keep clapping like that. Keep clapping like that. You're a pop sensation. Yes, you're going to go to the T.O.P. with the P.O.P., the pop sensation. Yes, yes. Thank you guys so much. Stay home, stay safe, and be blessed, okay?
Thank you, Bob.
All right, we'll take a break. I've got more open on the way. Next.
All right, sports fans, joined now by executive producer of the New York Post podcast, Jake Brown, and probably the only other guy in New York City that's as fly as me when it comes to suit jackets. Looking sharp, my friend. How is life in quarantine?
Well, the only chance I've got to wear this jacket is on Instagram Live, essentially, because I ordered it the last night of reality, and it came in the mail like a week into the quarantine. So I've had nowhere to wear it. So I'm like, why not rock it now with you? Going stir crazy, but working, trying to keep busy, going for walks, getting coffee. It's doing the best I can.
Well, another thing that seems to happen to most of us during this pandemic is the long hair, and I guess your co-host Ron Duguay could attest to having the longer hair from the '80s. I'm not going to comment when it comes to you, but it seems like the podcast and stuff with him has gone very well because ultimately you guys have been able to talk about things outside of the Rangers and hockey, and really have had some exciting content. Talk a little bit about that podcast, and I really wanted to get your thoughts on what it's like to be a content creator when there's not much content to create.
Yeah, Ron's been awesome, and I was never a big hockey guy, and I've really gotten into it this year, and it's been fun going to games with him, seeing people react when they see him. It's like, oh, it's Ron Duguay, and seeing him at the Garden, seeing that vibe. We've had a lot of cool guests. I mean, we just had Rod Gilbert and Pete Simkowski. We've had, Eddie Mio. We've had so many good, Linda Cohn, a lot of former Rangers. I got to talk to Adam Graves at a charity event. So it's been a much more fun show than I anticipated for a guy who wasn't super into hockey. My Mets show, Nelson Figueroa, is going to return. We had a ton of great guests when we started, and then obviously coronavirus struck that down. So it's a weird time. I have to do podcasts with a blanket over my head. And for a fat guy, that's hard. You start sweating, it gets hot under there. And I don't have really the studio scene here. As you can see in my living room, it's a very open room. So if I go in my room, the Wi-Fi is not good enough. So I got to go in here. So I got a Rodecaster that I use to record. So it's definitely not easy. And people are like, oh, you're probably used to it. You've done podcasts at home. And you would think I have. But over the course of my 6-7 years doing shows, I've always had a studio. So I guess I've been spoiled in the fact I've always had a studio to use. And now I've really had to figure out how to make this work, and doing more Instagram lives and trying to connect with people to make sure they realize we are still working and there are still some forms of entertainment that you can get.
I have my man crush behind me here. This is Steve McQueen. I know recently on the show you had a chance to get your man crush on the show, and Mike Piazza. Talk a little bit about having the great one, Mike Piazza, on the show.
Even though it was over the phone, I was so nervous. And I don't get as nervous anymore because I've been doing it for a while, but it's Mike Piazza. I mean, the guy was my childhood hero. I met him once right after I graduated, and I said to him, you made my childhood legendary. And now, 5-6 years later, here I am talking to him on a pretty big network with the New York Post. And that was awesome. So I've got to talk to him, Steven Matz. We had Edgardo Alfonso, who was one of my favorite players as a kid. We're going to have Hank Azaria at some point coming up. A big Met fan, talk Brockmeyer. We're going to have Terry Collins is expected to come on at some point. So there's going to be a lot of big-time guests. And doing the show with Figgy has allowed me to have big-time guests because people know him and he's got contacts. I use my contacts. I actually booked Piazza, funny enough, that it wasn't Figgy. So I'm going to show off that I booked Mike. So when you get the chance to talk to someone that you idolize as a kid, it's really, you just got to pinch yourself. And it's really been fun. And I'm praying baseball and the players agree to bring it back because I want to bring the show back, and I miss games. If I'm not going to be able to go to them at Citi Field, I want to at least be able to watch them.
And COVID-19 has really hit close to home at the New York Post with the passing of photographer Anthony Causey. Anthony was a good friend of mine. You guys did an amazing job, a touching tribute to him on the show. I was hoping that you could speak a little bit about his legacy as a great New York City photographer.
When you hear people share these stories, and when you hear Yoenis Cespedes, Noah Syndergaard, all these New York athletes, all these athletes around the world, Donovan Mitchell, talk about him, you understand the respect that this guy had as not just a photographer, but just a human being, and how caring he was. I mean, it is hard to get Yoenis Cespedes to be friendly and get him to speak. This guy was allowed on his ranch to take photos. This guy was allowed in his car to drive around in all the different cars that he brought to spring training. He developed a personal bond that you don't see with any photographer ever. And a guy that we had on who, was a mentor to him was Gemini Keys and the Keys Cam, a guy who became popular with his photos of players' shoes and all across the whole sports world. And to hear another photographer talk about kind of the tips and pointers and to allow him to get certain shots just shows you, like, it was competitive where he wanted to be number one, but he wanted to make people better, and he wanted to, have a great relationship with those around him. And one of the guys in the photo pit we got to talk to. So it was cool to hear writers, to hear players, to hear photographers really shed the light on, the life that this guy lived. And, lost him way too young, and we lost 2 kids behind and a wife. So you think about the family and it just breaks your heart.
No doubt about it. He had an amazing career, and actually, having you on the show, JB, I'm really excited to talk about the podcast and the Post. And I think you've had an amazing career yourself. I mean, already at WFAN, Sirius XM, CBS Radio, SNY, and now, of course, with the New York Post and headlining all of that as the executive producer. And you guys not just focusing in on the Rangers and the Mets, but also have the Yankees podcast with Jeff Nelson. You have the, good friend of mine, of course, is Kazim Famuyiwide, doing some good shows about the Knicks. So I just wanted to get, some more perspective on the podcast and the hope of everything returning, and then just some thoughts on whether or not we will see the NBA and the NHL and even the NFL come the fall season.
Yeah, well, thank you first for the kind words. It's been a grind, a lot of years of little to no pay, a lot of years doing podcasts for free. And I earned this spot for sure for all these years of, it was hard paying bills at some of these jobs. This industry, it is not easy. So it's been a grind, and I've always looked ahead to what was next instead of being happy with the present. So that's why I've had success, is because I've always looked for new opportunities to take on and not satisfied. I won't be fully satisfied, to be honest, until I'm a drive time host on WFAN, until I'm a TV personality, because that's what I wanted to do since I was 7. So I'm still not there yet. So I'm happy with what I'm doing now. I love it. The Post has been great, but I'm still not like goo goo gaga. And that's why I've had success. The Knicks show, I think the NBA is coming back. I just think it won't be till July or August. I think it would be idiotic to play any sort of regular season games. You end the regular season. The good thing is that the 8 and 9 seeds, the closest was 3-game difference. And that's not close enough to be like, all right, let's do a 10-team in each conference thing. Keep it at the 8. It's the NBA. The 8 seeds aren't winning anyway. Let's be real about it. It's going to be probably Lakers, Clippers, something Bucks, Celtics, one of those in each conference. So, and who knows in the West, actually, because it could be any of the top 6. But I do think the NBA comes back. I'll say, probably late July, because the NBA is the one where, they started this, where they had cases. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a more confused state there, because there's a lot more physical action with the NBA, guys constantly touching each other. So that is a lot more of a wait and see, where Adam Silver has said, basically, we're not going to make a decision for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So we might not know till Memorial Day, till the first week of June, if that's going to happen. So I'll say late July. I do think baseball is going to come to their senses, and I do think baseball will return regular season first week of July. And then hockey's probably going to be late too. I think hockey's going to follow the NBA suit and is going to be a late July, early August. And football is the cash cow. So I think football's still going to happen in September. I think it's nonsensical. It doesn't make a ton of sense to even play preseason games. If you do play 2, I think this is the year to cut that down. But I do think football will probably go on as scheduled in September.
Well, JB, I can't wait to see your flashy suits in person in press boxes, of course, here in New York City, man. I miss you. It's been a while. I think it's been the last time we saw each other was at the Munson dinner in February. I don't know if our suit jackets were responsible for this pandemic, but ever since, things have been upside down.
I don't know. Don't be fooled. This was $60 on Amazon, and I have another one that looks similar except shinier. But I'll be glad to get back to normal life, man, and hope you and your family stay safe. And let's get back to sports pretty soon, because I'm dying here. There's only so much salmon and brown rice I could cook at home. I need reality back.
Totally agree. Great having you on the show, and excited to listen to some more on the Post. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
go. Welcome, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. I'm from 107.5 WBLS, and I've known this gentleman for a number of years now. Well, we met his sister in the park, but we'll talk about her another time. I'm here with my good friend Freddie Jackson, the legend, the phenomenal Freddie Jackson. What a voice! He's still out there doing his thing.
It's me behind the mask, so I'll give you my top teeth.
I know, but you know what? We all have to do it these days.
We got to do it. We have to practice what we preach.
Yeah.
So
we're all in quarantine right now. We're like locked down. We can't go anywhere, do anything other than to put on a mask and go to a store and jump right back in the house and try to stay safe. How are you dealing with all of this?
This is all life-changing. I mean, the day when you go to the grocery store and people are walking up to you and not saying, "Oh my God, you're Freddie Jackson," but saying, "Yo, man, I like your mask."
Yeah.
That's weird. Not the shoes, not the pants you got on, but "Yo, man, nice mask." This is really kind of crazy time. People are dying. I've lost 9 people in my church. In Harlem, my heart, Harlem. And so it's affecting my good friend Andre Harrell that I went to high school with. We went to school together, ate lunch together, Charles Evans Hughes, Andre, the incredible Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. Come on. It is just hitting and hitting. This is serious. And people need to know. People need to know to take care and precautions.
So those are some of the things that we have to do while we're here. We're in the studio, we're in the home. So you let me hit the other day, and I thought it was like, I'm gonna use the word dope.
Don't outdate yourself.
I mean, I've been through a number of cycles and stuff. I'm still reinventing myself.
I've been here right along with you, Bob.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not new.
Before you get into that, tell people. Explain some of the songs that you've made over the years and some of the people that you've traveled with, around the world.
Oh, man. Let me see. The journey started in 1984 with Rock Me Tonight for Old Time's Sake, which changed my entire fiber and being in my life. I went from White Castles to Ruth Chris,
And you turned into a comedian along the way.
Well, that's what what happens when you eat too much beef. But, Rock Me Tonight, and then You Are My Lady, and He'll Never Love You Like I Do. They were like 3 #1 records off of that album alone. So it just changed my whole life. And then we went into just like the first time album, the Tasty Love, and Damn Tonight, and I Could Use a Little Love, and just a little bit more.
The Tasty Love.
Oh, girl, the way you do me. I sound kind of good behind this mask.
There you go. It doesn't hold back anything.
No, listen, it's just a natural thing. I love singing. It's my life. Producers Barry Eastman, Paul Lawrence, G. McFadden, incredible writers and producers. And so I have really been blessed to have a number of 11 #1 records in my life, and they are still living, Bob. Today. They are still living like they're fresh and brand new.
It's still played on Quiet Storms all over the place.
Man, y'all are still hooking a brother up.
Yeah. Okay, for old time's sake, I won't mess with it. I'm just saying.
You sound like you're trying to get into my business.
We're back there singing along with the record while you singing.
Yeah, well, as long as you're singing along with it.
Along with the record. But we can never compete with that.
No, don't you ever do it. I have to call my sister on you.
Now that sister is something else. We'll talk about her at another time.
Oh, man. I hope she's watching.
Oh, she's gonna be watching. You're gonna get some calls and everything. She's gonna try to reach out to you.
That's my brother.
So Freddie, while at home, you and your producer got together and came up with this record. Talk about it.
Well, you know what's strange? I started writing again. Picked up the ink pen and I said, my manager said, it's time for a record. So I said, okay, well, let's call all the producers. Let's call Barry. Let's call Paul. Let's call everybody. He says, no, my brother, you're doing this one. I said, uh-oh. I've been the artist. And when you pick up the artist, you kind of put some things to the side, the writing. So I said, okay, I can get this done. We should be paying more attention to for us. And I just think that this song, Why, is because somebody took their eye off of us. The ball was on all the situations, and nobody was protecting us and thinking about us. Yeah, people are sitting around saying, why? What's going on? What is going to happen? And they're messing around with information, and every day is changing. And so the first line is sitting around talking to some friends of mine, and the conversation came up. The question is why? Why, when, and what's going to happen? I just figured it was time for me to show the other side of me, because we are all in this together.
Yes.
And so that's why I said they need to hear this. Teddy Pendergrass said, wake up everybody. Marvin Gaye said, mercy, mercy me. This song, I think, is a part of this crisis. Why? Why can't my friends go to Sylvia and sit inside Sylvia's and eat?
Yeah.
Why can't, you know what I'm saying? Why can't they walk up and down 125th Street freely? So people are asking questions, why? And I think this song is appropriate.
Where can we get your music, your new music, and everything that you put out?
Social media, all over social media. Yeah, getting good response. I was just talking to my director about putting it at the top of my show, because I think it's important. Once the doors of certain rooms open back up, because we are all in this. We all got the same gigs right now. Let's say that. We're all in the same dressing room. We're all in the same dressing room right now, and so it will be important to give those people who are coming out something to uplift their spirits.
Freddie, we love you. Stay safe. God bless you. And hope to see you out there very, very soon. But, keep in touch. Pull that rotary phone off the wall and give a call every now and then,
And I just paid that bill last week. Listen, I love you guys and thank you for your support. And I want to just say to all your watchers, your listeners, to do the right thing. And this too, as my mother would have said, this too shall pass. Be smart, because your life is worth more than just a moment. And this is just a moment that is going to pass. And know that I love you. And remember, why? We got to stand up and tell them that we will not be ignored.
Freddie
Love you,
Jackson,
Bob. Best to that beautiful daughter of yours, man.
Sheena Lee, yeah.
That's what and if you guys don't know, that girl can sing. That girl can sing. She's a little threat, but she's got it good. You did a wonderful job with your daughter, man.
So bring her in. Sheena Lee coming up next. Yes, indeed. We've been talking to a lot of our friends in the record business and a lot of people who are in their homes and doing wonderful things in their studios. And I have my daughter on, Sheena Lee. She's been in Studio B. She's been working on a number of things. But before we get into what she's working on, Sheena, tell us about your missions work. You've been to a number of different places. Tell us about it.
Well, I've visited Oslo, Norway. I've been to London. I've been to Milwaukee, to Colorado Springs, PA, tri-state area, just doing missions work. And recently, I went to Puerto Rico, actually twice, in January and in February, just helping out with an initiative and a ministry called Tent Ministries, where we were going to the south part of Puerto Rico, where the earthquakes have hit. So we wanted to just kind of like bring hope and just a message of just like restoration. And the people were really resilient. They were acceptive. We were able to just like share the word and, sing in song, worship unto God.
And we thank you for your work. We thank you for your service too. And a lot of people have gained a lot, with your singing and your ministry work with a group of other people there too. Now that you can't get out, you're like, we're all in quarantine. We're all locked down. I'm in this room. I've been doing stuff, radio and TV, right from my room. We call this Studio A, and you're in Studio B. And we're home. We're home. What have you been working on?
To be honest, I've really been working on myself. And just growing in my relationship with God and spending more time in his word and with him. And with doing that, there have been like spurts of creativity that's just been coming to me, like just downloading. And I had music that I hadn't released, that I haven't shared yet. And I just felt encouraged and inspired because of this pandemic and the fact that we are quarantined and at home. I felt like God knows timing is everything, and it's like in the right time. Like I had this music sitting and I was like, you know what? I want to share this with the world. I want to share this to bless people. And right now it's just, in the works of just putting out content and new music while being productive and blueprinting and planning out next steps to continue, being consistent in music.
And you've been singing for a while. I remember you first picked up my microphone. I had a gold microphone around the house. And you used to gravitate toward that microphone. You used to pick it up and sing, and we used to take pictures of you doing it and everything. I said, this girl's going to be a singer. She's going to do her thing. So can you hit us with a little a cappella, just a little piece, just a little taste?
Because of who you are, I give you glory. Because of who you are, I give you praise. Because of who you are, I will lift my voice and sing, Lord, I worship you. Because of who you are, yes, I worship you. Because of who you are,
yeah.
Jehovah Jireh is my provider. Jehovah Nissi, Lord, you reign in victory. Jehovah Shalom, you're my Prince of Peace, and I worship you because of who you are. Yes, I worship you because of who you are.
Yay! That's what's up. All right. Everybody all around, they clapping. They did like this. Yeah. So tell, what are your plans?
Well, right now, I just want to focus on my new single, Home, featuring Kriston Gray. I believe that we're in a time or season that because we are in our homes, for those who are believers, those who have faith, even those who are seeking God now like never before, I wanted to share this song, and in hopes of understanding that there's other elements or other ways of being home. Home can be a person, a place, a thing. But for me, in this song, home is God, and being in his presence is home. It feels like home, where we're restored, where we're renewed, where there's joy, there's peace and unconditional love. And that's what I want people to feel when they listen to it, because it is another form of worship, just to kind of get in his presence and just seek him.
Sheena Lee, where can we find your music?
Basically, you can find home on all digital streaming platforms. We're talking about iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, like anywhere. It's going to be available everywhere. So you want to make sure that you get that, or like listen,
Any prayers or messages to our listening audience or to the people who follow you?
In this situation, I will say this, that right now we are getting ready to step into a new normal. Just look at this situation as a renewal, like a restart. Sometimes, things need to take a pause or a break, and just continue to just trust in God, and choose not to live in fear. Trust him, because if you connect with him and you ask him to speak to you, he will speak to you, and he will give you a peace that surpasses all understanding.
There you go. My daughter, Sheena Lee, with a new record, Home. That's all the time that we have for today's show. But thank you, Sheena. We love you. We praise you. And may God continue to bless you. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice, and let the choice control the chooser of the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll catch you up at 107.5 WBLS. Stay home, stay safe, stay blessed. We love you all. Peace.